I know what you guys are thinking about the poster. There's only 2 googly eyes, and of all the fucking films that have only 2 googly eyes, I ran out of googly eyes and I forgot to buy more, and I just want you guys to know that I know that I've let you down. Kind of hidden by my fringe, but just know it's there. If you haven't been able to work it out already, today we're going to be talking about Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's one of your classic sci-fi, kung fu, multi-dimensional, satirical comedy action movies about your place in the universe and mother-daughter relationships. You know, one of those. And this film acts as a perfect counter to edgelord movies and the men who love them. I can also near guarantee that by the end of this video you're going to be fucking pissed off at me, so look forward to that. So Everything Everywhere is the second feature-length film by the director Joe the Daniels. At this point in my script plan I wrote give synopsis of movie, which is, I mean, it's easier said than done. I work in a cinema and the plot synopsis we were giving out to people was this action-adventure movie about an exhausted Chinese American woman who can't seem to finish her taxes. Which I mean is technically, it's not wrong. We had a lot of very angry old ladies coming up complaining. I'll make the synopsis quick as, but if you want to skip ahead you can skip to the next chapter or to this timestamp.
Dan.
It's a film about an immigrant family with strained relationships who own a struggling laundromat business. Evelyn, the film's protagonist, can't find time for her husband Wayman, and finds it hard to fully embrace her daughter Joy's sexuality. Evelyn, while in an IRS meeting, has a visit from Wayman from another dimension, known as Alpha Wayman, who came to warn her of Jobu Tabaski, the rogue multi-dimensional assassin who travels across universes to kill every Evelyn. Alpha Wayman introduces Evelyn to the idea of dimension hopping, where you can see the life another you would have had you taken a different path. But importantly, you can also gain the special abilities of the self in that universe. As the film progresses, we learn that Jobu Tabaski is actually Joy from another universe, who got pushed too far when dimension hopping.
So he pushed her beyond her limit.
And had her mind shattered across every iteration of the multiverse. She experiences every moment of every parallel universe simultaneously.
Instead, her mind was fractured. Now, her mind experiences every world, every possibility at the same exact time.
You could say that she experiences everything, everywhere, all at once. When faced with the vast expanse of all things, she lands on the understanding that nothing is unique, nothing is final, nothing she does has a lasting impact, and nothing matters.
But you see how everything gets washed away in a sea of every other possibility.
We also learn that she isn't travelling dimensions to kill every Evelyn, but instead to find a version of her mother who can love and understand her, and who could free her from all the emotional toll that she's been stuck in. In the next few sections of the video, I'll be referring a lot to FT Signifier's video, Edgelord Movies and the Men Who Love Them. I cannot recommend this video or this channel enough, so please do go watch that after my video. Now, if you watch my videos, you almost definitely know what an edgelord is, but my gran sometimes watches these videos, so for her sake, shout out to my gran. An edgelord is a name given to a type of extremely online young white right-wing boys who take on deliberately reactionary shock value jokes, usually which target minorities or discriminated against group of people, frequently calling for or celebrating the injury and death that's inflicted upon them. So edgelord movies are movies that appeal to edgelords. They are movies that speak to the core edgelord ideals of maleness, whiteness, and a sense of loss and oppression that they feel like they are facing. Films that, to them, highlight the depths that society has fallen to, and that, to them, make a call to arms to reclaim, reshape, or restart the world in their idealized way.
These individuals want to forcibly change the world to better fit the vision of what they think is right. And that is scary and dangerous. So the belief is that some type of cataclysmic event would allow them to break free and truly be their idealized self, and maybe even put the world back together properly in the image that they have in mind.
We're talking your Jokers, your Dark Knights, your American Psychos, your Taxi Drivers, and your Fight Clubs. All films that centre a down-and-out white man who sees the world in disarray and takes to mass violence to recenter the world around his own moral philosophies. You'll have noticed that I preface most of those sentences by saying they feel, because the irony is that these films are blatant critiques of edgelords and men like that and are no way an actual celebration. Taxi Driver being about mental health and how men struggle to open up to each other about emotions, American Psycho critiquing Wall Street capitalism and hypermasculinity, and Fight Club being written by a queer man trying to come to terms with his own homosexuality and internalised ideals of manhood. Edgelord beliefs are centred in the philosophy of existential nihilism, a philosophical idea that rejects objective morality and intrinsic truth. To talk about edgelords, you have to talk about nihilism, and to talk about nihilism, you have to talk about everybody's favourite 19th century sad boy, Nietzsche, who I don't think I spelt his name right once in this entire fucking 2,000 word script. Nihilists claim that the world holds no objective truth or morals, stemming from a rejection of religion and or the rejection of societal held beliefs. When an individual rejects objective values, according to Nietzsche, they may often reject legitimate values, landing in the idea that nothing matters. There is no objective right or wrong, therefore there is no right or wrong, therefore everything is meaningless. This is where Nietzsche's probably most famous quote comes into play. And if you gaze for long into the abyss also gazes into you. To rephrase that in a less edgy way, if you contemplate nothingness, the abyss, for long enough, then you yourself will become empty. Now, we will leave Nietzsche there for now, not because that's where Nietzsche stops, but that's just kind of where a lot of edgelords drop him. They kind of get bored of playing with him when he starts talking about how to better yourself for society. Now, in many ways, Everything Everywhere All at Once could be seen as an edgelord movie. The main antagonist, Joy, actively calls for nihilistic ideas throughout the duration of the film.
What is the truth?
Nothing matters.
And Joy herself could be read as an idealised edgelord character. Despite being non-white and female, she does fit the bill in almost every other narrative way.
It definitely had all the markers of an edgelord movie. Put upon protagonist suffering from an undue social ostracism and alienation, check. Secretly a special boy deep down inside, check. We live in a society, everything is wrong, what's wrong with the world, proselytizing, check. Special boy changes the world through righteous and spectacular violence, check.
Joy takes nihilism and fucking runs with it. When she's faced with the boundlessness of time and space and the depths of infinite parallel universes, she lands on the conclusion that no single thing matters.
I was just seeing too much. Lost any sense of morality, any belief in objective truth.
As she gazes into the abyss gazes back. Joy's nihilistic beliefs are told near explicitly to the audience when she tells Evelyn about the everything bagel.
Because you see, when you really put everything on a bagel, it becomes this, the truth.
Nothing matters. If nothing matters, then all the pain and guilt you feel for making nothing of your life goes away.
However, despite what it might seem, this philosophy is not embraced by the film. This philosophy is eventually challenged through the film's protagonist Evelyn, not through a rejection of nihilism, but instead through an embrace of what Nietzsche describes as active nihilism. Where we left Nietzsche before, he was in the depths of what he calls passive nihilism. However, something that is often misunderstood about Nietzsche is that by the end of his life, Nietzsche was not a nihilist. Instead, he claimed that existential nihilism was something that you had to actively rebel against. It was in this stage of his life that Nietzsche came across the idea of active nihilism. Passive nihilism is when you reject objective morality and find yourself believing that nothing matters, like Joy or our edgelords from before. They see nihilism as a sign to stop searching for meaning. But Joy is not the protagonist of this story. Evelyn is. Evelyn, despite being initially accepting of Joy's passive nihilism, chooses instead to reject it and begins searching for meaning within the abyss, becoming an active nihilist. To quote from the YouTube channel The Academy of Ideas, like the passive nihilist, the active nihilist experiences existential confusion and disorientation, which accompanies the feeling that life is utterly futile and meaningless. However, instead of succumbing to this despair as a passive nihilist does, the active nihilist is an individual who charges forward. After ridding oneself of beliefs and attachments which previously gave their life meaning, an active nihilist stands alone in the universe, able to create meaning instead of having it imposed upon them. Nietzsche described an active nihilist as somebody who realised that the search for meaning and value within life is not a futile act. He believed that after we rejected all the established morality put upon us, all it did was free ourselves up so we could fill ourselves with the morality that we actively seek out for ourselves. In that hunt for morality itself, there is value. Within the deepest depths of Evelyn's existential nihilism, she begins to find understanding in snippets across the universe. The trigger that pushed Evelyn to break away from Joy's nihilistic edgelord philosophies was when, in one of these snippets, she hears her husband's plea for everyone to just be kind.
The only thing I do know is that we have to be kind. Please, be kind, especially when we don't know what's going on.
After that moment, Evelyn realises that she can and chooses to create her own meaning through her love of Waymond and her family, and through her pursuit to be kind. She knows that in a cosmic sense, her love for them has no objective meaning or value against the boundless vastness of everything. But through herself and the acknowledgement of the abyss, she makes this love and her pursuit of kindness matter. She becomes an active nihilist. A smaller YouTuber Well, she's bigger than me, but still. A small YouTuber, Reese Gray, analyses, paraphrases this in a really beautiful way.
If all we can do is love and be kind, then we should choose to do that.
One of the final scenes in the film shows Evelyn challenging Joy's beliefs. Joy once again reiterates how through the eternity of everything, it is near impossible to find anything that makes sense, let alone anything you can give meaning to.
Here, all we get are a few specks of time where any of this actually makes any sense.
Evelyn challenges this by showing her that her life does have meaning, not in an objective sense, but through an active pursuit of it. Through her pursuit for meaning and for her pursuit of love and kindness, her life does have value.
Then I will cherish these few specks of time.
And through this action, Evelyn was able to make Joy's wish come true. She was able to see something that she didn't, to convince her that there is another way. Evelyn showed her a way in which she seeks meaning in the meaningless. The end of this sequence shows Evelyn echoing Joy from earlier when she says that nothing matters.
Nothing matters.
Evelyn agrees with Joy in her nihilistic perspective,
Nothing matters.
but she takes the active step to pursue meaning in her own way.
Nothing matters.
We can do whatever we want.
Nothing matters, so we can do whatever we want. Where the Edgelord movie embraces and nurtures the idea that the world is meaningless and cold. Everything Everywhere All at Once instead says that yes, the world is objectively meaningless, but no, it's not intrinsically meaningless. And yes, the world can be cold, but it is also filled with laughter and colour and kindness and love. And only through our acknowledgement of these truths can we grow and heal. Now, I said at the start of this video that by the end of this video you'd be annoyed at me, and that's because actually this whole time I've been building up for the sole reason to show you this meme. Sorry. I fucking love this movie. It is hilarious and thought-provoking and I fucking love it. And if you haven't watched it, what are you doing with your time? Quit your job, drop out of school, just go spend your time seeing this film. I made a playlist of all my video essays. Check them out. If you like this one, I'd appreciate it. I like making these and the fact that people actually watch them is like, yeah, it's really nice. So thank you, genuinely thank you for that. Thank you so much as ever. I need to come up with an end. What do I say at end of videos?
And now,
Editing cam.
Always want to hear with you.